You still can get certain things for a reasonable price. It depends on where you're going. All right, thank you.
No, I was gonna say there's an algorithm set up in this society. You think the elites don't understand, what the people can and cannot afford?
Yep.
They understand how much they're paying people. It's all calculated.
Right.
By demographics, regions. Yep. They understand exactly. How much people need to be making. Right? How much money is being made in this city here? How much money is being spent in this city here?
Yeah, it's been broken down already.
Yeah. So they're giving people just enough.
Yep.
That's why they got these food banks like McDonald's. Fast food restaurants that are reasonably cheap. 2 for $3, 4 for $4, whatever. I haven't been in years. I don't know what they got.
You may see a commercial. You may see a billboard. You know what I'm saying?
I won't watch commercials, but
you see a billboard.
Yeah, I'll be muting those commercials.
They get all loud. It's irritating, yo.
It's like every day a commercial. Yeah. When you done watching your episode, they don't teach you about financing or investing or without trying to sell you a course. It's all a scam here. Yeah. Buy now, hurry up and buy.
Yep.
But victuals, right? Good shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they should think themselves to be in the good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth.
Yeah, right before your very eyes, the bad times are growing, man. All right, you're not paying attention. You're not seeing what trade deals are being cut off from this country to this country. All right, what a railroad was destroyed. It's going to take maybe another 6 months for certain goods to get to this part of America, man. All right? Yeah. Evils are growing, man. Earthquakes in diverse places, right? Uproars of the people, pestilences. All these things are happening before your very eyes, man. That's why the scriptures tell you in Luke 21, we have to get that, watch and pray. Watch it. Get that, Baba Kashan? Luke 21.
Yeah.
It start, huh?
No, go ahead.
It started like around 34.
Yeah, because you were talking about with the tariffs, that they were saying that all the effects are going to be the word that Jerome Powell, right, the head of the Federal Reserve, right, he said the tariffs are transitory. The inflation effects.
Yep.
I mean, it's only going to be temporary.
Yep.
Whether it is or isn't, it all what they say, inflation's going to increase, but we're going to do tax cuts. So it's either you're going to pay for it in inflation or you're going to pay for it in taxes. At the end of the day, Edom is going to get his dollar.
Yeah, he's going to stick you. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but you can blame the mother for that.
Look at it.
Blame the mother for that. You got it.
This is the book of Luke, St. Luke, chapter 21 and 34, and it reads, or you want me to get 32?
34.
34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness.
Too much. Could Jacob be doing this right now? Prime example. Trying to cross the street and take a picture at the same goddamn time. Get across the fucking street. The excessive amount of BS that Jake is into, man.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, you well, I used to, have you ever seen that movie Wall-E? We're at the beginning stages of that. That little robot that the NVIDIA CEO had brought out. That was like a Wall-E robot.
Yeah.
And in the movie they had a bunch of Wall-E robots in the movie. And eventually what? The Earth, he was the last one. The Earth was destroyed. They had to leave the Earth. You got Elon trying to go to Mars.
Yep.
Still practicing his space stations.
Yep.
Trying to go up in a rocket ship. But we went in the 70s.
Right.
But the physician, the smart people, I don't know what degree they have.
Right.
I have it in my mind, but I can't say it. But yeah, I can't think how it's worded. But they made it, but now we can't make it.
Right.
The technicians and all of them.
Right.
You know, so this is a foolish place. That, and you actually believe in, you know, what they're saying. You gotta be drunk. Yeah, brother.
Yep.
This is the book of St. Luke in chapter 21 and 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares.
Yeah, caught up with the cares of this life. This age is passing, man. No, you're supposed to be going on to the next ship, the next wave, which is a righteous kingdom, man. Going back to 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. Okay? This place about to was kaboom. You know? But yet you worrying about the things is that, you know, well, you see yourself in 5-10 years. Hopefully in the kingdom. That's what our mindset should be. You know? And if you ain't catching enough hell, yeah, that's where your mindset probably is. You catching hell, you know, you hasten to get the fuck up out of here, man. You got it out.
St. Luke 21 and 35. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
Yeah, so you caught up in this place, Babylon, all right? You're going to get caught in a trap, all right? And that trap is Jacob's trouble and the missiles and the MOTB.
No. It's like when Trump gave the speech about tariffs, you saw the Dow Jones drop. You know, the Dow just dropped right when he was on TV. You know, that's people's life savings going down. You know, what do you think happened during the 2008, you know, the housing market crash? People are bugging out, committing suicide. You know, there's going to come a time where it's going to be even worse than that. You know, people are going to be out here. That's why it's called the crash outs. You know, people are losing more and more, bugging out on the internet, getting on social media, screaming at the camera.
Go ahead, bro.
This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 21 and 36. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch ye therefore and pray always. Okay? That you have to escape the things that are coming. Right? The only way you're going to escape the things that are coming is having that hedge of protection, which is this wisdom, man. All right? Which is this wisdom. Romans 15 tells you the things that are written before time was written through our learning. Isaiah 33 and 6, Papa.
Yeah, that's where I was grabbing that.
You know? You're going to need this, man. The hell with everything else. The hell with the jobs. The hell with the careers. The Lord said, if you're going to follow him, you got to cast those things behind you, man. All right?
Yep. Living down.
Yeah.
Isaiah 33 and 6. In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength for salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
Yeah. All right? Having this wisdom is going to keep you stable. All right? And our strength. Because we're walking with YAHAWASHI. We have a guide. We're going to have a guide. When shit hit the fan like it's going to, all right? These people going to be guideless out here. There's going to be one road. That's the road to the MOTB, man. And these people going to be racing to it. Knocking each other down. You know?
People don't have answers. We had a little team meeting at the job. You know, everybody just talking about like the smallest things and they're making it to be the biggest problems. Well, what about this? Just like, what the hell are y'all talking about here? And then the meeting everything that was talked about for 25 minutes could have been summed up in 5 minutes. You know, how much worse when, you know, you got to figure out how you're going to get food. And, you know, people are put in situations that they've never been put into. You know, how are you going to get the answers? Well, you're going to lean upon what you've learned, which is to go down to your enemy for help, to receive that mark of the MOT to the beat, right?
Yep.
Right?
What do you think? Well, you know, I ain't going to get into it. I ain't going to get into it. Keep going, bro.
Yeah.
Luke?
Yeah. Did you finish it out?
It was a little bit more.
Yeah, it was a little bit more.
Yeah.
was the trap.
Go ahead. Luke 21. So the scripture said, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be found worthy to escape the things that are coming upon the earth.
And that wisdom, you know, allows us to navigate. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, you quoted it. You know, I'm gonna hold it.
You know, scripture also said, better is he, how does it go?
The higher his folly than he the higher his wisdom.
No. Better is he that, I'm about to find it.
Can I get one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead, finish it out, bro.
You got it. You got it there.
This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 21 and 36, and it reads, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
Yeah, the things that are gonna come to pass are the things that we're constantly warning you about, constantly speaking on. You know, everyone has a problem. You know, what we're doing, well, all we're doing is warning you. You know, this dude who predicted the stock market crash in 2008, he was praised. You know, no one gave him hate.
Yeah.
You know, no one was speaking against him.
Right.
You know, we're giving you the heads up so you can you know, get into that spiritual arc, that spiritual protection.
Right.
You know, especially if you're, well, really only if you're Israelite. You know, or aren't you tired of being oppressed? Aren't you tired of being down at the bottom? You know, finding out how much poison is in your food now by 2025 or 2026. Well, I think it was like 2026. They no longer can put E40 in the food. You know?
Right.
2026?
Right.
That should go shut them down now. Well, we gotta wait.
Yeah, okay. Hold me, Ciroc, 20 and 32.
Okay.
You got something, my collar?
Yeah, I was when I said 55.
Hold that for a second.
Yeah, I got one real quick.
Yeah.
This is Sirach 29 and 11. Lay up thy treasure according to the commandment of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold.
Yeah, lay up thy treasure. There's wisdom. And it's going to bring you more profit than gold, because scriptures tell you, riches profit not in the day of wrath, man. All right? And that's all our people have been trained to do and get. Well, yeah, you know, money is defense, but at the end of the day, the true riches, what we need is the wisdom, man. All right? Righteousness delivers from death, man. And now people don't understand that.
Yeah, money can't buy, you know, money is really never a ransom for vengeance. You know, money can't get you out of, you know, vengeance.
Right.
You know, especially someone like YAHAWASHI who is righteous.
And you watch those Law and Order SVU cases, you know, found the guy deleted, you know what I'm saying, or blink it down. Still got his gold, still got his money in his pockets. And they be like, yeah, this is something, they weren't about the money, it was principle.
Yeah.
You know, Ice TV.
Yeah.
You know?
This is Sirach 20 and 32. It says, necessary patience in seeking the Lord. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
It says, necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better than he that liveth his life without a guide.
So it's necessary to suffer, man. And seeking the Lord, you are better. All right? Because if you don't, you're living your life without a guide, man. And in these times, these people are not going to have the Lord because they didn't suffer.
Yeah, especially like when you're going through like a terrain or the trenches, you know, the guide might go up and walk 10 steps ahead of you, look around, make sure everything, the coast is clear, then he might signal for you to come. You know, but these guys, they just want to go out. And you know, I got it.
Nah, the guys, you know, there's bear trap right there. You know?
Yeah, there's landmines.
There's landmines, quicksand right here.
You know, this is where we're being hunted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is the MOTB.
Yeah.
You know? So we're gonna have that guy. You know, don't eat that. You know, look, just keep walking. You know? We're gonna have the spirit of YAHAWASHI shot on us, Lord will, man.
Oh, there's berries.
Yeah.
They're poisonous. Don't eat those.
Don't eat them.
You know?
You know, she's somebody that ate them, now they all passed out, and you know.
Yeah, everyone that went in front of the guy on the floor laid out, we passed them.
Right. You got it, my God.
It's Isaiah 55 in verse 3. It says, incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live.
Yeah, look, hear, and your soul shall live. All right, when you're hearing something, you know, you got to take it in. Process it. What the Spirit is saying. But that goes back to the angels too. Blocking you. What's that? Is that Matthew 16 or is that Matthew 13 again?
Yeah, Matthew 13.
13?
Yeah, what we read earlier.
You know, got the angels literally got the spiritual hands blocking them from receiving this word, this information, this precious gift, because it wasn't meant for them, man.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't want to hear that destruction is coming. They don't want to hear that, you know, life as you know is going to come to an end.
Yep.
You know, the movie Leave the World Behind. You know, you gotta be really, when you really, you know, because it's, you know, speaking about the market, because, you know, when you look at the news, everyone's panicking. There's a lot of volatility in the market, so there's a lot of sell-offs in the market. In short term, everyone's scared.
Yep.
You know, but, you know, but what about, I thought everyone was, you know, long-term investors, 10, 20, 30 years, and, you know, planning for retirement. You know, but as soon as a little volatility comes, a little bit of friction, people, you know, become fearful, you know, and when these events happen, you know, shows you how unstable these people really are in the mind.
Yeah.
You know, people are really unstable.
Yeah. They're gonna lose it, man. Go ahead out.
Read again. Isaiah 55 verse 3. Incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David.
Yeah, and David sure got mercy, man. Because the things that David, you know, that transgressed against the Heavenly Father the way he did, he should have been in the grave. He should have been back in the spirit world. But the Lord showed him mercy. All right? And that's what we pray we get, the sure mercies of David. But it starts with you what? Inclining your ear. Right?
Yeah, admitting you're wrong. That's what David did.
Yeah.
You know, he admitted that he was wrong. You know, I confessed my sins to the Lord. You know, the Lord forgave me. You know, I hid not my sins from his face.
Right.
You know, we gotta be real with ourselves. You know, script say, I'll grab it.
But that's one thing. No, that's one thing that Jake refuses to do. Once again, that's a character trait of their daddy, the devil. You know, they don't want to accountability doesn't exist in their vocabulary until it offends them. Then they want you to have accountability.
That's why I say he saw that carefully with tears.
Yep.
You know, he knew he had sold his birthright. You know, that he'd given it away.
Yep.
But he was, you know, he was trying to take no accountability. You know, he started playing at me. He tricked me.
Yeah.
You know, this is Sirach 18 and verse 20.
Yep.
Before judgment, examine thyself.
Yeah. Or, you know, before the hammer comes down. All right. Examine yourself, which is a daily thing. All right. It's a daily thing, man. Am I doing what's right? Am I doing what's pleasing in the eyes of the Lord? Okay, what's supposed to meet you with every thought? And you know, and when it does, you're constantly cutting yourself, man. You're constantly cutting yourself. You got it?
Yep. To examine goes into like investigate.